Hey everyone, this is Pat with AZEK Building Products, and today we're going to be going over the installation of our staggered edge shingle with Paint Pro technology.
So the first thing we need to do is we need to have a starter strip. So the starter strip, we install that on the wall so that as we stack our shingles up, we get the proper kick out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually measure 1.5 inches off the top of a panel. As I rip these starter strips off, and I can get several of them on here, I'm gonna keep these tabs at the bottom. And as we move along, we'll show you where we use those tabs. As far as cutting material, just using a battery-powered circular saw with a wood blade on it. The nice thing is, as far as using this saw, is that there's little resistance when cutting this material, so the batteries have really good life. Alright, so there we have our starter strip.
Fantastic. Nice thing about that is I noticed you didn't have to wear any dust masks or anything when you're making that cut.
That's one good thing about cutting PVC is that there's no, dust or harmful dust that you need to really worry about when you're breathing it in. So that's one nice thing about working with PVC, Pat. So what we're going to do is to install the starter strip, we're going to go ahead and we want to keep the starter strip, our first course of siding, 1/4 inch up off this flashing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a scrap piece of shingle that I have laying around since it's 1/4 inch thick, and I'm going to lay that on there. And I'm going to take my starter strip, I'm going to lay that right up on top of my scrap. That'll give me a nice 1/4 inch clearance. Using my Coil siding nail gun, I'm going to take a Coil siding nail, and I'm going to place a nail every 8 inches on center in the middle of that starter strip. Alrighty, so there you have it for your starter strip.
Alright, we're off to the races.
Yeah, so next step after that is we're going to do a starter course. Essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take a full panel again, and we're going to measure 8 inches down from the top side of that panel. So if I flip this panel over, we're going to measure down from the top. What we're going to do is we're going to rip that down. We're going to rip these tabs off. What we end up with is we'll end up with a starter course. So essentially we'll take the top of the panels and we'll put them down. And our first starter course we put on, we're actually going to cut that to 16 inches. So what we're going to do again, we're going to take that 16-inch starter course. We're going to install it here on top of our 1/4 inch flashing. You also notice that my nails are flush and they're not overdriven. Alrighty, I think we're ready for the first course.
Real good.
So first course of siding on the staggered edge. We got a couple choices here. One choice is that we could go ahead and install a full staggered edge panel. However, my personal preference is I actually take the panels and I rip the first course down to the shortest panel. So we've pre-cut that here, and what we have is our first course of siding. So we're going to start off with a full panel. This is a full 48 inches. So what we're going to do is when we install these panels, we're going to leave just a slight gap in between the panel and the trim on each side. Make sure that we're on our level line there.
That looks good there, Dave.
So what we're going to do is when we nail these full panels up, our nail placement is going to be above every keyway. We're going to go ahead and we're going to nail 1/2 inch above every keyway. We're also going to have 1 nail on each end. So after we get our first course installed, it's fairly easy to get going from there. This particular product on the staggered edge shake has got a 6-inch exposure. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to measure up 6 inches, make a mark. So 6 and 12 and 18 going up our wall. We're going to do that on each side of our panel. Make our mark there. And then we can use a chalk box and we can snap a line. So if that was to hold that there, we could hold this down here, put it on there, and go ahead and snap a line. So we got to snap our lines up the wall, and we're ready to roll now. All right, so we got our first full course installed. The next step is we're gonna, the second course is gonna be a 16-inch setback. So we are going to take a full panel again, and this is our full panel. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut 16 inches off the left side of that panel, and we're going to take our right side and we're going to install this piece. However, we're going to hold on to this because we're going to need this later. So what we'll do is we'll set that up, leave a small gap between the siding and the trim. Once again, our coil siding nailer, 1/2 inch above all the keyways. Alrighty. So that's our second course of siding. Our third course, what we're going to do, once again, we've got a full panel. This time, instead of cutting 16 inches off, I'm going to cut 32 inches off the left side of the panel. I'm going to grab my 16-inch piece from the right side of the panel, and we're going to go ahead and install that up on the wall.
One thing I think worth mentioning is how lightweight and how easy this product is to move around.
Yeah, that is one nice thing about this product as far as its weight. It's very easy to grab a 1/4 square of the material and move it around a job site without a problem.
Yeah.
So once we get our full course installed, the first one, we got a 16-inch setback, another 16-inch setback. So you remember these pieces that we cut off. What we're going to do is we're going to use those as fillers on the end. So this particular piece, we'll use as a filler on the end. So one of the things to keep in mind when you're installing in cold weather, 40 degrees or below, is we want to leave about a 16-inch gap in between the panels. The cool thing about this particular product is that all these keyways are variable width. So with that, you get a real authentic look on the wall. The other nice thing is when you're gapping panels, they blend right in. You don't even notice. So if your gap is a 16th on one and an 1/8 on the other pat, you don't even notice.
It really gives you that real wood look. Now, as we're doing this install, Dave, what are some of the clearances or balances toward the roof or the deck that you got to hold back from?
So that's one of the beautiful things about this product is that we don't have to leave clearances off of grade. It's impervious to moisture, so there is no moisture that's going to get in this material. The other nice thing is we don't have to paint our cut ends. We also don't have to leave a gap and caulk this either. So we can install this a lot like real wood shingle. So we can leave a slight gap in between our trim and our siding and back caulk this if we would like to.
Oh, that'd be nice.
So we don't have to worry about sealing up the cut end of the product for moisture to get in there, which would cause paint to get. So we don't have to worry about that. So once we get our courses installed, what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and grab our finish nail gun. This is a 16 gauge finish nail gun. And we're going to go ahead and on the corners of each one of these panels, we're going to go ahead and put a finish nail on. So we're gonna finish nail these tabs off, Pat.
Okay.
So one of the beautiful things about this product is that it's a limited lifetime warranty. So this is the last shingle siding you'll ever put on your house. So a lot of people ask me, Dave, why are we gonna go ahead and finish nail those? Those finish nails are all flush nailed. It's paint pro technology, so when you paint over the top of that, those nails will get covered up, you won't even see them. And they blend real nicely into the material. The thing is that we do this because at the end of the day, if you want a product to last the lifetime of the building and you don't want to have any issues with it, this is an extra step that we take, and it's real cheap insurance. So that's one option, Pat. The nice thing is a lot of people ask me, what if I don't want to finish nail the product, then what? So I get that question a lot. So there is another option. So with our install, we've got a full course, a 16-inch setback, another 16-inch setback. So we're going to go ahead and put up another full course. I'll show you another option for installing the AZEK shingle siding without using a finish nail. So essentially, I'm going to take a full panel and I'm going to flip it upside down. What I can do here is I can use AZEK Fill and Flex. It's an adhesive sealant. And what I'll do is on these small tabs, about 2 inches up from the bottom, I'll put about a dime-sized dab. And I'll go ahead and do that on each one of these tabs. About 2 inches up and 1 inch in from each side. And when I'm doing this, I make sure I keep the top of the panel towards me. That way any of the runoff or anything from the caulk doesn't get on the face of the panels.
Yeah, that's a nice tip. Keep that mess on the backside.
Yeah, we don't want to get that on the face, especially if we're using pre-finished product. This application is just absolutely perfect for doing a pre-finished job. So once we get that on there, we can take these panels, we'll go ahead and we'll set them up. Make sure you put the top of the panel on first to get it set where you want it. Go ahead and lay it down. That's another option. Once you get those panels on with the Fill and Flex, set those into place. Absolutely beautiful. So that way you can eliminate these, especially if you're doing pre-finish. That Fill and Flex is just the way to go. So once we get this course done, we'll go ahead and put another course up. So we're going to go ahead and do a 16-inch setback. So we're going to keep that pattern going, right? So once we go to full course, then we're back to a 16-inch setback. Alrighty. So last thing that we have to do is we have to put our finishers on. So essentially we'll keep our 16-inch setback pattern, and all the pieces from cutting my starter course, I kept all those. And I kept them in the order in which the tabs came off. And I did that because I want to make sure that when these go back up on the wall, I don't have to sort through them to find the right ones. So essentially what we're going to end up doing is they're all in order. Is we're going to end up installing these back up on the wall. When we install these finishers, go ahead and grab my 16 gauge finish nail again. We're going to put these up. Install a finish nail in each corner. The nice thing about the varying width keyways is I don't have to be perfect about my keyways. I can kind of set them exactly where I want.